guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Thursday, June 10th, 2021. My name is Aubrey and this is my video for the day on the new moon in Gemini solar eclipse that is happening today, Thursday, June 10th, 2021 at approximately 6:50 a.m. this morning. And this is my rundown for the energetics of today and what we can expect going forward through this Gemini new moon cycle that will be carrying us through the next couple of weeks. So I labeled this report for today Under a Spell because honestly, that's how this whole thing looks and feels and smells and seems like to me, okay? So here we are at another eclipse, and this one is a solar eclipse as opposed to the lunar eclipse that we had a couple of weeks ago. Now, generally, eclipses mark periods of major changes in our lives as things are eclipsed or removed, taken away. And with this new moon in Gemini solar eclipse, because remember, it's happening with the new moon, there are a lot of new things coming in to replace what we're letting go of. And also remember, this is with the North Node. The Sun and the Moon are both conjuncting within proximity of the North Node. In astrology, the North Node rules the future, our destiny point, the path ahead, where our blueprint is wanting to take us based on our evolution up until whatever point is being activated. And right now, it's where we've come up until this point where we're being activated. So this eclipse, like all eclipses, is going to eclipse some things out, take things away, just like we just experienced with the lunar eclipse, except for lunar eclipses are much more about releasing than our solar eclipses. You know, with a solar eclipse, we know that things, just the nature of the eclipse, things are going, but because we have the sun and the moon, it's the new moon and also near the North Node, we know that the things that we are losing now are for the purpose of new beginnings and to make room for what's coming in and to really realign us with something that's more appropriate to where we're at in our evolutionary path personally and to where we are going now. So this, especially in Gemini, we have to remember this eclipse is happening in Gemini. And Gemini rules ideas, information, communications, the media, social media, people talking, short trips, things going back and forth, lots of chatter, transactions, all of that type of stuff. And so with this Gemini energy being so activated today for this solar eclipse, what we are losing and what's coming in a lot of times is both going to be in terms of like people, places, and things, and also specifically because of the Gemini theme, ideas and perspectives and understandings. Old ideas, perspectives, and understandings that we have realized are no longer suitable for where we're at now. And we're learning a lot of new things, new ideas, new information, new perspectives, new alternatives, new options, all flooding the field and coming in today to help us in the process of letting go of what we remain to need to let go of and facilitate our ability to open to our new path, our path forward, and what's coming next. So yes, and remember, like I said, it's not just the solar eclipse today. It is also the new moon in Gemini. So this solar eclipse is really activating new beginnings and aligning us with new paths and directions going forward. Because this is a new moon, this process really will be in effect throughout the entire Gemini cycle. Because remember, when I do my new moon reports every month and when astrologers look at the new moon, it's basically whatever energetic is active on that day is the energy that carries through and unfolds like the undercurrent of all the energetics that are playing out throughout the course of that particular month. And so for this particular month, we know that we have this solar eclipse energetic and the aspects that are happening alongside of that carrying us through the whole saga over this next Gemini cycle, okay? So we should be very open and receptive. Gemini is a mutable sign. It's all about being open, adaptable, able to go with the flow and to change and to accommodate changing circumstances and changing ideas, thoughts, perspectives, all of those things that are being highlighted right now. And it's really asking us to be very receptive to new ideas, new opportunities, new people, and new experiences right now. Even if it seems like something completely foreign to us or completely out of our wheelhouse or nothing that we really ever had an interest in or felt drawn to in any way, we should really be paying attention to the new things that are being presented to us right now, suggestions, opportunities, things that catch our eye, just things that we are like interested in, maybe that we haven't been so before, because this whole process this year, we're really undergoing a lot of changes that are bringing us back into our own authenticity and to who we originally were before we were kind of pushed to mold ourselves into the ideals of society and be like everyone else and fit the box that, you know, makes it easier for us to do the jobs that society creates for us and all of that type of thing, because we're moving into the age of Aquarius. Everything is changing. The whole way that our society is structured is going to be changing going forward, and we're really going to find a lot more value in our own personal authenticity, who we really are, what we really are interested in and passionate about, and how we can create and cultivate that into something that can really carry us through in our lives and serve our family and our community and, you know, ourselves. Because when we're doing something because we love doing it, we tend to do a much better job, and it tends to be a much more quality outcome and result than when we're doing something because we have to better or further someone else's purpose that really might not have any relation or correspondence to what interests or fulfills us at all. And so these are some of the fundamental reasons why these shifts are taking place right now, but we're being realigned with things that are more in alignment with who we were truly meant to be, even though we may have been carried direct or drastically off path at some point in our journey through life up until this point. So things that may have felt out of place up until this point, we might start realizing we're more drawn to, or we're more attracted to, or we're finding more of them occurring in our daily life and experience and existence. And we should be open to those things and not sort of turn them down or close them out or push them to the side just because it's not something that we would normally do or that we've done before, okay? So that is something to keep in mind as we're going through these energetics today and throughout the course of the next few weeks while the Gemini moon cycle unfolds. So now I want to discuss the specific astrology that is in effect today alongside of the eclipse and the Sabian symbols that are being activated by this solar eclipse new moon energetics today. And just to clarify, one type of astrology that I do is called Sabian symbol astrology, and what that is looking at the specific degrees where each and every one of the planetary bodies that we measure and evaluate their, you know, impact are at, and each one of the degrees of the zodiac has a corresponding what's called a Sabian symbol, which is basically the energetic frequency of that specific degree described in a picture form so that we can get a better idea in terms of really like immersing it in our psyche and really being able to understand better what that specific frequency represents and resonates to, because it helps us get a lot more specific and accurate understanding of the energetic impact that that planet is having at that degree and what their purpose really is in being at that degree, whatever it is. So I like to look at the Sabian symbols because it just really gives us more information about what's going on in the unfolding drama that we experience as a result of the electromagnetic frequencies interacting with our own vagus nervous system and causing changes to our own personal energy bodies and our psyches that cause us to react and, you know, feel and think and behave in certain ways. And it's just good to understand what's going on so that we can have more control over our own personal experience and be less at the whims of these like subtle electromagnetic impulses that are going on and can be you know, really dominating forces if we allow them to be. So first of all, and I've been talking about this all week, most astrologers have been, because it's a big deal and it's really coloring so much of what we're experiencing in our individual lives right now, as well as what we're witnessing on the world stage and especially in the media and on social media, because remember, those things are all ruled by Gemini. So The first main aspect hitting that makes this eclipse even more emphasized in terms of it being very related to information, ideas, communication, and really just stirring the pot right now and mixing things up is because Mercury, who is the ruler of Gemini, okay? So the sun and the moon and the north node are all lining up in Gemini right now. And when we look at astrology, when planets are in a sign, it's important to look to where the ruler of that specific sign is, because each sign of the zodiac has a ruler that's one of the planets, and it's because that sign very much so correlates to the energy of that planet. And Mercury happens to be the ruler of Gemini. So in order to understand what the true purpose of the sun and the moon and the north node in Gemini are working towards right now, we have to look at Mercury, because they are working with and towards Mercury's purpose, because Mercury is the ruler of the sign that they're in. And Mercury happens to be going backwards retrograde in his own sign of Gemini, and practically at the exact same location as this specific new moon solar eclipse is happening today. And that's a big deal because it is the ruler of the sign in conjunction with the eclipse, with the new moon, and retrograde going backwards. And then to add even more spice and flavor to it, it's also in a square to Neptune in Pisces. So what does this all mean? The new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, while of course the north node is in Gemini, and this is all in square to Neptune, like I said, while Jupiter's also there. So let me translate, okay? So we have to first analyze Mercury retrograde, and we know when Mercury goes retrograde, especially in Gemini, his own sign, this means that we are rethinking things. We are going back through information. We are taking a trip back into the past, and we are re-examining, re-evaluating, rethinking, revising, going back through old information, looking at it again, and coming to new ideas, new understandings, learning new things about it, and it's changing the way we viewed whatever it was that originally happened, okay? And then, so that's the nature of Mercury retrograde in and of itself. And then we have a square going on, and squares are aspects of conflict and tension, but they do that for the point of creating some type of resolution and some type of evolution and making something into a better version of itself ultimately. But it does take conflict, friction, and tension to really get there and to make that happen. So, and Neptune rules illusion and delusion. It's the spiritual planet. It's, you know, fantasy and wanting to merge back into the wholeness of things. The ruler of the sea, very sort of like murky and veiled and foggy, and with Neptune and fantasy and ideals, but it's hard to get a real concrete understanding or view of anything when it's going on with Neptune. And Neptune is also in Pisces, which is its sign of rulership. So it means it's very strong in Pisces, and there's a huge ability to connect to intuition, God source, spirit, signs, synchronicities, all of that really right brain stuff right now, ability to connect. But there is also simultaneously a really strong ability to like make things cloudy and confusing and illusions and fantasies and delusions and distortions. And then we have Mercury in the square in his own sign of rulership, also very strong, and that's the logical faculty. That's like streamlined thinking, streamlined thought processes, thinking things clearly. So those two things are in a square, in a conflict with each other right now. And that really means that information that we're going back and looking at right now, reevaluating, has to do with things that have been hidden, murky, diluted, distorted, like fantasy, not clear in some type of way, and hidden from us. And so this energetic, and it also simultaneously is making things that way as well. You know, lots of versions of reality going on, lots of narratives, lots of different interpretations of events from people who were simultaneously there. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own story and their own version of events and their own version of facts, and nothing is lining up and nothing really makes sense. This whole, like, this aspect is very much to me like we are just under some type of spell. And that's why I wanted to label my report under a spell, because it seems like we have been under a spell for a very long period of time, almost in a state of illusion or hypnosis. And right now, with this Mercury retrograde in square to Neptune, while we backtrack and reevaluate and rethink and really connect more to our own gut instincts and our intuition, and, you know, rely more so on our own internal navigation systems for direction and clarity instead of the narratives and the spins and the distortions and viewpoints that are being presented from various forms of news and media and social media, all of those Gemini themed things. We really haven't had an ability to have a tremendous amount of clarity going on. And right now we're in the process of uncovering things. And we also have Jupiter in Pisces as well, with Neptune right now for this eclipse and new moon today. And Jupiter is about to station retrograde in Pisces and head back into Aquarius. But Jupiter rules the truth, and Jupiter wants to clear up any type of deceit that's been going on, especially in relation to people's belief systems, because Jupiter also rules belief systems. And so right now, with Mercury going retrograde and square to Neptune, we're really in a process of revising and like re-looking at things based on new information that we're getting right now that exposes a lot of things that have been hidden, distorted, you know, just not been given to us straight. So that in itself is this major aspect that we have going on that's leading to a lot of what we're seeing right now in the media and in social media and in the news, and also what we're experiencing in a lot of cases individually in our own lives, finding things out about the past that weren't as we thought they were, and finding these things out, changing our mind about how we actually think about this thing, and it's changing the way that we feel about it and, you know, what we want to do with it going forward. Now, all of that in context to the fact that this is lining up almost exactly with the new moon in Gemini eclipse today. So that's the sun and the moon and the north node. And what that says to me is that from this point forward throughout the course of this Gemini cycle, we will be getting a lot of information that is trying to help clear things up for us. But it's not going to be straightforward, and it's going to take some time. We really need to wait for Mercury to go direct and make its third exact conjunction to Neptune and then move out of its shadow in order for the clarity to truly start to come. But for now, and with this eclipse happening within a 1 degree conjunction to Mercury retrograde in his own sign of Gemini and also in square to Neptune, I do think that starting with this eclipse and over the next few weeks as we head into July and close out the Gemini lunar cycle, one of the major markers of this energetic of this eclipse is that there is going to be information about the past that has been hidden or that was unclear or that we didn't understand properly at the time being presented again in a different way, additional information, you know, alternative viewpoints that really has us kind of taking a second look at things and changing our mind about things. And you know, we're not coming to clarity yet, like I said, but we're having an open mind and we're looking at things from a different perspective, and we are being open to new ideas, new opinions, and new perspectives. And we're taking that all month long, and it's moving us forward and helping us come to a better understanding, realization, and aligning us better with our own individual paths that we need to go collectively going forward with the North Node. So again, ideas, opportunities, people, things that are coming up now, today, and this week, and actually over the next few weeks too. We are in extremely destined and fated energetics right now. A lot of things are being abruptly removed from our lives, ending a lot of chapters, and we need to be very open and receptive to new experiences that are coming in. For this eclipse today and the new moon, the North Node is at 11 degrees of Gemini. Newly opened lands offer the pioneer new experiences for opportunity. That's the Sabian symbol. And that's really where we're at right now. We are the pioneers of the age of Aquarius. We are like generation one of second renaissance that's going on, of the new revolution, whatever you want to call it. We're in the new world, the sixth sun, according to the ancient Aztec prophecies. Like, it's a big deal. It's not just, a little eclipse. This is like a transition from one world to another world, according to ancient prophecies. It's like a very prophesized time, and these are big, heavy hitting energetics. And with this eclipse today, and the fact that it's literally like, it is so rare that it would be in conjunction with Mercury retrograde and square to Neptune for this eclipse, it's going to be clearing things up for us, and our understanding and viewpoint of reality when we come out the other side is going to be drastically different than when we began this whole journey. So lots of fated occurrences, fated events. Pay attention and be open to signs and synchronicities and things happening around you that could really benefit you in some way going forward. But the thing is, and another thing that I want to say about this energetic is, we don't want to make decisions right now. These are not decision-making energetics. These are observation energetics, being open, observing, really tuning into yourself and trying to get more in touch with your own intuition and like hunches and following internal guidance and stuff like that, and really tuning into like what feels right to you. But we really don't want to be making like any type of hardcore decisions right now, because we have to be adaptable. We have to be able to go with the flow going forward, because things are changing and we don't have all the information yet, and we don't know exactly how things are going to be or how we're going to feel about things when we do have the clarity that we've been lacking this whole time, when the illusion is broken, when we do all come out from underneath the spell. We don't know exactly how things are going to look. So we definitely want to start, being open to what our new reality, what our future is going to look like, especially with Saturn in trine. That's another thing that's going on, is Saturn is in trine to this eclipse today as well. And Saturn in trine to the sun and the moon and the North Node, this is a master builder frequency energetic that is really working to try and build the future in. It's retrograde right now, so it's reforming things, reevaluating things, same as Mercury, going back and looking at where we are now and what wasn't working and what changes we need to make to go forward and to have things be built in a better and longer lasting and more enduring and more sustainable long-term way, because that's what Saturn does. Saturn wants to it wants to create things that will take us far outlasting into the future. So we have like a ton of support right now to really we're being assisted in the process of building the future in the way that is most appropriate for the direction that we're heading and where we're aligned with now. But it's just not the best time to make concrete decisions about things, because we really don't know what everything is going to look like once we have more clarity about what has transpired. So, yeah, we actively are, or have been, in my opinion, under some type of spell, and the illusion is about to be broken, kind of like once and for all with this energetic that's setting up today, and what it's going to do carrying us forward throughout the next couple weeks. The fact that we have Mercury retrograde conjunct to the eclipse 1 degree off, and actually at 1 p.m. today until 1 p.m. tomorrow, Mercury is going to be coming into exact conjunction with the sun. This is called Cazimi. And this actually is our one opportunity for this period of time. And it happens around, I can't remember exact, I think it was like 9 o'clock tonight. Mercury will be in exact conjunction with the sun, and that will give us a brief window period of potentially getting that a little bit of the clarity. There might be some of that actually slips through tonight when that conjunction is exact. But while Mercury, that's another thing, when Mercury is close to the sun but not an exact conjunction to the sun, that's called Mercury being invisible. And according to more ancient astrology, they said that when Mercury is invisible, valuable pieces of information a lot of times don't show up until later when Mercury becomes visible again. So that's another thing that we're dealing with. Not only is Mercury retrograde, not only is Mercury in square to Neptune, but Mercury is also invisible for this eclipse. So we don't have all the information. We're looking for it. We're getting bits and pieces of it. And those bits and pieces are definitely changing our overall ideas and our overall understandings about things. But we really can't come to any definitive conclusions yet because we just don't have all of the information. So that is what's going on. Now, just to, I want to talk about the Sabians. And the sun for this eclipse is at 20 degrees, the sun and the moon at 20 degrees of Gemini, a cafeteria with an abundance of choices. So again, we are just going to have an abundance of choices in terms of ideas, information, perspectives, narratives, things that we're hearing, things that we're seeing, things people are telling us about what actually happened as we go through this clarification process. And not only that, because we're lining up with the North Node, and this is the eclipse, this is the new moon, we also have an abundance of choices in terms of what opportunities we're going to take advantage of in our quest to establish our new frontier as the pioneers. We're going to have a lot of choices about what we want to do, a lot of options, a lot of opportunities coming to us this month. So we need to be open, like I said, and not make any serious decisions and just kind of browse and observe and see what's being offered to us. The cafeteria with an abundance of choices. Also highlighted is 20 degrees of Sagittarius. This is the oppositional point where the Earth is across from the new moon in Gemini, 20 Sag, and this is men cutting ice for use in summer. So this makes me feel like we also need to be preparing and thinking ahead and being resourceful over this next few weeks, this next new moon, and as this eclipse cycle is playing out. The Earth is speaking about preparing in advance for something that's coming, cutting ice for use in winter. So I think that that's indicating that we should all be preparing, thinking ahead, and being resourceful as well. Now, in terms of other Sabian symbols that we have going on today, Mercury retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini, a tumultuous labor demonstration. So it's protest, it's a revolt. The information that's coming out right now is causing a demonstration, and people are probably generally not super thrilled about it. So that is another aspect of what's going on. These revelations, and it's also, a tumultuous labor demonstration, like hard work has gone into this and is going on to get this information exposed and to bring people to the place where they can have an understanding. And it's also causing a lot of, this information, it's Mercury, the information could cause a lot of rebellion or a desire to revolt against something or to demonstrate in some kind of way. So that is something that we can also be looking at with the energetics of this month. This eclipse is also very much so activating the natal chart of our former president, and I wouldn't be surprised if over the next few weeks throughout this cycle, he also rises and begins to play some type of more prominent role on the world stage again, either being validated in some way or vindicated in some way, or his ideas being taken more seriously or something, because he in his energetic is a major part of this eclipse transpiring right now as well, because his sun, his North Node, and his Uranus are in basically exact alignment with this eclipse as this is happening, and we know how much of an influential role he has played in the media and in social media, and those are all Gemini themed things that are highlighted right now. Venus today is at 10 degrees of Cancer, a large diamond in the first stage of the cutting process. We are just getting started this cycle, but what we unearth under this energetic will be very valuable when the process is complete. That's how I'm reading this. Mars today is at 30 degrees of Cancer. It is so dark in here. It is like the worst lighting ever today. It's like really gray and rainy now, and sorry if you like can't even barely see me. But Mars is at 30 degrees of Cancer, and that is a daughter of the American Revolution. Interesting Sabian for Mars. Last degree of Cancer for this eclipse day. He is moving out of Cancer into Leo tomorrow. And the spirit of America is waking up with this and being activated this month, all month long, with the collective spirit of revolution and freedom, a daughter of the American Revolution. Mars, the spiritual warrior, our motivation, what is inspiring us. Also, we have Jupiter, who rules the south node at 3 degrees of Pisces, a petrified forest. So we are examining the past, frozen in time with this, really looking at what happened. This, again, goes back to that Mercury Retrograde square Neptune energetic and the degree of the eclipse today. We are getting a really good view, frozen in time, of what's happened so that we can go back, reevaluate, and make different decisions potentially based on what we've learned about the past going forward. Remember, we also have a black moon in an almost exact trine to Pluto retrograde for this eclipse, so we are also undergoing a very subconscious and under this, like behind the scenes, purge, purification, and deep transformation of our the deepest levels of our subconscious mind and our psyche and our shadow side issues. This is really going to help us in the process of releasing the past and our old dogmas, our old belief systems, and being open to embracing the new and the future and what's coming and the new opportunities, experiences, all of that as we move through this eclipse, as we move through this month. Lastly, we absolutely cannot forget that we have a Saturn retrograde square to Uranus that is practically exact. It will be coming exact on Saturday, I believe. And that is all about building something based on authenticity and also freedom and freedom and control going off against each other. Humanity is being liberated, and we are building a new society that supports that liberation. And it's happening with this square, but it also brings a lot of tension, a lot of conflict, and a lot of issues in between control and power structures and the desire for freedom that people have going on. So my video is about to cut off. I have to wrap this up, but that is everything that I see going on for this eclipse day. And for the new moon in Gemini, moving us forward into the next month. It is going to be a very revealing month. Remember, no big decisions, but be very open your mind, and be ready to change, because we are about to find out a lot of things that we thought were real were not, and a lot of things that we were told we could not believe in or trust happen to be where we should have been probably putting our trust in the first place. And ultimately, the most important thing it comes down to this month is tuning in and learning to trust our own gut, our own instincts, our own common sense, our own feelings, our own intuition, and to follow that and to act on it and to be open to these opportunities that are coming to us. So if you guys like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell if you want notifications every time I upload a video, and leave me comments. I love your comments. Share it with your friends, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow for my video for Thursday. And I hope everyone has a really beautiful eclipse, and just be ready